My name is Eleni Sommerschield, and I am here with Brandon Wise, our CEO.
Hey
Welcome,
guys.
Brandon.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. So while we're getting started here, I would love to see in the chat where everyone is coming in from. So post your city, state, your brokerage, and how many years you've been in business. And Brandon and I are going to get started here on, we're going to be talking to you guys. We've got a lot to cover because apparently I was speaking in Greek when I was talking to Brandon about today's webinar. Because I said to him, we're going to do, the title is going to be 5 CRM takeaways every agent needs to know. And I came up with the 5, and then Brandon came up with his 5. So we actually have 10. And then Brandon surprised me and said, actually, he's like, I have a bonus one. So I'm like, okay, we have 60 minutes to go through 11 things, which will be fine. So it's going to go quick, but it's recorded and everything. So it's going to be a fun one.
And not only that, we have a lot of really good questions already coming
We
in.
do.
So we're going to have to hit some of those that aren't covered in either of our 5, I think. So.
Yes, I love it. And I love seeing, I mean, we have someone in here. We have Rose from Kenosha, Wisconsin, that's been in business for 31 years. But then, you know, we've got Kim that's been with, been a realtor for 1.5 years out of Virginia. So we've got like, it runs the gamut from newbies to veterans. So I love seeing that. And I think this is going to really, I mean, when I thought of my 5, Brandon, I don't know about you, but when I thought of my 5, I thought, well, it doesn't matter if you started today with in the business or with the CRM, or you've been doing this for many years. Like these are things that you should just be doing. So
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, more just these are the 5 that are going to be good for everyone. And I think as I'm looking at the questions, I think I could take one of these questions right now to start it off. That's kind of aside from the 5, but I see one that says, what makes Wise Agent CRM unique from all others? And I just got off the phone with a broker that was telling me why you guys are so unique, because when you start working with every other technology company, we just subscribe to the technology company and use their service. And he said, but when as I'm using Wise Agent, it's like I've added a team member on my team that is a technology expert, and it's not like we're just using your service. You guys have become a member of our team. He was telling me how he knows several of our customer support specialists by first name, and so I think that, you guys, is a huge difference that you're going to see that sets Wise Agent apart from all the other CRMs and really a lot of other technologies. That we actually, our support team actually cares. They're not going to tell you turn your computer off and turn it back on again to fix your problem. They think and they understand, hey, you've got real problems, and they come up with real solutions, and they'll walk you right through it. So if you haven't experienced working with a company like ours, you're gonna appreciate that we're there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our team is there to answer your questions, and it really, we want you to feel like when you start working with us, you have added a partner to your team, a technology partner, and we're going to be there for you and help you work your way all the way through the CRM. And we'll start with these 5.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So we're going to just jump right in, because my very first one is, you know, you have to be logging in every single day to your CRM. That is something that's like completely mandatory and required in order for you to, you know, you have to create that habit, that good habit of logging in every single day. Because once you log in, you're just not going to sit there and be like, all right, check, it's logged in. You're actually going to do stuff in there, right? If you log in and you see it. And one thing for me is, most of you know that have been on the webinar before, on the podcast before, watching and listening to me, is my background is in technology. And so I use technology to make my life easier. And that's what the CRM should do. But then you also have things like, when, you know, especially the logging in part, how do you make that easy for yourself? Whatever browser you're using, I always recommend people to use Chrome. Whatever browser you're using, you should be able to set it up so when you do open up your browser, that is one of the tabs. Your Wise Agent account is the one tab that opens up as well. So as anything else, I'm going to share my screen, and Brandon, I'll give you a second too to see if, like, do you have anything to chime in on?
Yeah, no, I think just like anything else in life that brings success, it's all about being consistent and creating that habit to start off. And I think we've made it really easy to log in. If you, like she said, if you have the tab there, you can use your Facebook button to log in with, you can use your Google button to log in with, or you can log in using your username and password. So you'll figure out what's your favorite way to log in, but just logging into the system. And if you know, a lot of people that we talk to that are successful, they say that's the first thing I do when I get to the office every morning. I open up my computer and I log into my CRM, and that's where I'm going to see what my whole day is. That's where I'm going to see who I need to call, what appointments I have scheduled, you know, who am I following up with, who's been replying back to me that I need to get to, you know, and what transactions I've got going and what all I need to do in those transactions. So really logging in is the number one thing you can do to become a success using your CRM.
Yeah.
Good one. Yeah.
And so I tell people, go to, like, so in Chrome, you can just go to your settings and on startup, open up a specific set of pages. I mean, your email should be one. I don't know if Facebook should be, you know, one of them for everybody. I only do it because this is for my demo purposes, right? Because I can never remember passwords. But then there's Wise Agent. You always want it to have your CRM in here, and anything else that you need, your MLS or whatnot. But this is something that really should be done to really help you in that process while you're creating that habit of logging in, right? So that's a great great thing. Do you want, and so when, like I said earlier, so when we were going through these, so Brandon, do you want to do your number one tip?
Yeah, well, the first thing I wrote down was the day planner. I think so much of this business is about setting those appointments. And if you're not actively scheduling appointments and then actually going on them, you're not gonna be a success in real estate. So so much about setting appointments, and we just come across people all the time that are not using a day planner. And I have every appointment I schedule alerts. So I think the reminders are what keep me on time. So before, like today, right when I woke up, I already had an alert on my phone saying, you have a webinar with them today. So make sure you dress appropriately, you know, was what it did to my head. So I knew how to dress this morning. And then when I got to the office, it reminded me again, hey, in an hour, you've got it. So don't get too carried away doing something else. This is coming up in an hour. Then I had to go off again 10 minutes before this, just say, okay, it's time to start logging on. So I use the alerts and the day planner for everything. And if it's not on my calendar, there's a good chance I'm going to miss it. And so yeah, get in the habit. And a lot of people don't have that habit, but once you start it, your life becomes about your day planner. And in Wise Agent, what's so cool about it is that you can use your phone and put it on that calendar and it'll show up in your Wise Agent, or you can put it in your Wise Agent and it shows up on your phone or on your Google. So I think the day planner is just an easy thing to start off with if you're not using anything, and that gets you logging in every day. So it helps Eleni's number one as well, because once you, and then you kind of get to a point where that's what I need to do. Or as soon as I wake up and get going, what do I do today? You know?
Yeah. I agree with that, because that's, I mean, and that's how I am. I typically look at my next day. So at night, right before I go to sleep, I look at my phone, look at my calendar to see what is my day like, because then I need to figure out what's my hair going to look like, what's my outfit going to be. I plan out my day according to my appointments. Can I wear my hair in a ponytail, or am I going to be on a Zoom? So definitely those are things. And while we're talking about this, if you guys have something that you're like, oh, I totally agree, or you know what, my thing is this, go ahead and post that in the chat. I know people want to know, they want to hear from you guys as well. So some of the things that you're doing. So if you're one of those people that you log in every single day, go ahead and either do the, you can raise your hand, or just say, yes, I do that as well in the chat. We love seeing that feedback.
And we did get a lot of requests from people saying, hey, I want to know what I've got going on before I even get to the house, before I log in. And so now we send a daily email, the email that kind of goes along with that as well. Oh, was that one of yours?
That was going to be my bonus one.
We should have talked before this. I told you.
I know. We were both kind of busy, but that was going to be my bonus, because you told me you had a bonus one. I'm like, well, I want a bonus one, but and Hannah's saying that she uses the daily agenda as well. So I'll show you guys that in a second. But my number two thing was knowing some of your facts. So knowing your numbers and knowing what's in your pipeline. I think that's really important. At the end of the day, you're in sales. You should know where you're at. So your goal setting, your, your numbers, what are you doing as far as like your sales, your gross commission, your net commission, all of those things. Those are things that you should be looking at. And that's kind of why we designed the homepage the way we did, is for you to be able to see really, and I'm going to change my screen here, to see really quickly and easily your commission report. Like, where am I at with my transactions? What's happening here? Am I on trend to do what I'm set out to do? What I need to do in order to provide for my family, right? I mean, that's the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. And your success is our success. So this is something where I think it's really important for you to know those numbers, but then also know what's in your pipeline, so those new leads that are coming in, being able to see those and being able to see all of your most recent contacts is something really important. This kind of goes into my next thing, but I'll let Brandon talk about his number 2.
Well, on that same topic, I think the reports that you can pull up, knowing your numbers as far as, hey, how many people, what's my goal of people I'm going to call this week or tomorrow? How many appointments? What's my goal of listing appointments to set this week? And you can see when you pull up your reports in Wise Agent, how many emails did you send and how many got opened? How many calls did you have scheduled and how many did you actually make? How many appointments did you have? And then we also have the goal piece of it. So there's a lot of different ways to track your numbers between the reports and the goal tracker, as well as your commission report numbers that she was kind of showing earlier. But yeah, when you start using these other pieces to it, like the goal tracker, it just really does help you kind of set those other kind of numbers, maybe not the commission numbers, but the things that are going to lead to the commissions, the number of calls you're making, the number of open houses you're holding, the number of appointments you're setting, and so on. So kind of taking away on yours. Yeah.
Was that your second?
No, that was just playing
off
an
add-on to my second one. Okay.
Yeah, my second one, maybe one of the biggest ones, is the contact management part of the CRM. So, and I don't know if you had that as one of yours as well, but when I started using the contacts and really getting into it, what really helped me was adding more detail. I love adding images to every person. So when I go in my CRM, not only do I see their basics, their email and how to reach them, but I also see where they work, what their title is at their company, and then I always have a picture to go along with it. So I can put that face, pull up the face, and that reminds me, even though I've talked to 300 people last month, then I can help remember who this guy is. And then of course, what else? The notes is a big piece on the contacts as well. But I think with Wise Agent, we allow you to keep way more information right in front of you than any other CRM, when you include the spouses and even the families, children's names, pets' names, birthdays, anniversaries, so much on this page. And the more information I put on, the more I want to go to it every time before I talk to that person, or before I go to an event. I kind of brush up on who's all going to be there, so I remember who I'm seeing, different things like that. But put more information in there and it becomes way more valuable to you. And it kind of gets fun as well. We've got several tools to help you as soon as a lead comes in, to help you get some more information on them. A lot of times automatically it'll add the image, if you're using the social media enhancements, it'll add a picture of the person and where they work and what their title is, so we're trying to help fill in a lot of that information, but that's really valuable to me. It makes me use my CRM more. Yeah,
I love that. And for me, I'm going to stay on this page because I think the number 3 thing, or one of the top 5 things that you should be doing, is logging your conversations every single day. So when I'm on the phone with somebody, it doesn't matter if I'm on my cell phone, I'm usually on Bluetooth. So I'll pull up their contact record on my phone. If I'm at my desk, I pull it up in here. And then sometimes I'm just like, oh, I just need to see it really quickly. Oh, here it is. I'll just pull up right here and just start typing away. Or if I get that call, so then I can see, oh, what was the last thing that I was looking at, what we were talking about. And then I can log all my notes in here. It's so important. I can't stress enough. I know for me, I've been I've been burned several times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't remember all those details. And now I have to be embarrassed and asked again. Get all your notes done. Take everything. And if you have to do a piece of paper and then type it out, that's fine. You could do the voice dictation thing on your phone or on your tablet. Whatever it is, just get your notes in there. A lot of times when I'm on the go, when I'm traveling, I use the voice notes. I'll just sit there and just dictate all my notes, and just, after I'm done with the conversation, and then as I remember things like, oh yeah, and then they said this, I'll go in and fill it in. Typically I do like shorthand notes, like talked about this, talked about that. And then I can go back and after the conversation, so I'm not distracted by taking notes, and fill in details. But I think this is a really important one.
Yeah, I think adding those conversation notes every single time you talk to anyone is so important, and it's a huge piece that is a hassle and we all miss sometimes, but that's another thing that you want to really start making a habit, and it'll come back and save you over and over again, because a lot of times you can just be putting things in that don't even seem important today, but a month from now, when before you go call that person again, as you refresh yourself on the notes from a month earlier when you talked to, or if your teammate is making the call, they can see what I talked about. It really does open up a lot of doors when you remember things, items, details about that last conversation or about that person that they didn't even expect you to remember. And I think it just helps you in several different ways, and keeps you out of trouble with a lot of the details that you'll have written down. So you can say, actually, on this date, we said this, and here's how we worded it, So we're always saving your emails in the notes automatically when you're sending emails out of here, those things are going in, and your text messages, but make sure that when you're having the phone conversations, you're taking a minute after every call or at the end of the day to go get all those notes in, because it'll save you over and over again. And after a few times, when it does play in your favor, it'll help you make that habit. But that's another great one.
Yeah. And I see, Carrie is saying that that's what she uses the most. That's something, it really does make a difference. Mother's Day just passed this past weekend. And it was funny because when you're, there's a holiday, there's a birthday, there's something coming up, you can go through your list of contacts and say, okay, well, who do I know that's, that I need to send a happy Mother's Day little note, just saying, just a little appreciation text or email or phone call to somebody, that just makes a difference. And especially when you can customize it to them to, whatever is going on in their life. I know people always appreciate that. And that's how you build that relationship. It's not just, taking the notes and saying like how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and what's your, your credit score and what's your price range, but it's also those other little things like, oh, they have, 3 kids. So let me go ahead and just, send them a quick text message saying happy Mother's Day. I hope you're enjoying your day. It's something as simple as that can make a difference for somebody.
And I think what she just said is a huge point that most people in real estate have figured out, but if you're new, you may not have yet. This business is less about selling houses than the biggest thing that will help you sell more houses is if you start focusing on building relationships. Relationships are so important, and that's what's going to keep your repeat business and the referrals coming in, is when you actually have a bond with someone and you take time to build that relationship, and keeping notes about them. When you're having 100 conversations a week, keeping notes about what you talked about this week is definitely going to help you build that relationship 2 weeks from now when you're talking to that person again.
Yeah. And I love seeing that. Like the other day, I went out with Ashley, one of our customer support reps. We went to an event, and it was so fun to see the person that invited us knew Ashley, and went up to Ashley, hugged her, and was like, oh my gosh, I've talked to you so many times on the phone. And, seeing like that connection with somebody, when you have that with your, with your clients, when they just see you randomly at Starbucks or around the grocery store around town, and they come up to you and they give you a hug because you have meant something to them in their life, that's that relationship. That's the level that you want to go to, because once you get to that level, you don't really need to be like marketing to them saying like, hey, when you're going to buy a house, remember me. They will remember you because they mean something to you, or you mean something to them. So I think I love seeing that. I love seeing those relationships with people. So, all right. I think we were at number 3. Did you say your third one yet?
Now, my third one is lead automation. So kind of a little different than having these real conversations that we're talking about. But what we see over and over again is that this actually works. Is when the leads are coming in from whether they're you're sitting at an open house and people are walking through and giving you their information, becoming a lead, or you're getting leads off of your Facebook ad, or you're buying leads from one of the companies that sells leads. You need to be really think it out before you ever hold that open house. Every lead that comes in that door today, how am I gonna, what's my long-term plan to market to them and turn them from just a lead into a client, you know, someone that I have a relationship with. And so a lot of times the easiest and really the only way when you're marketing to so many different people is to start off with a lot of the automation, the lead automation. And so that's what she has pulled up here is for what's cool about another difference about Wise Agent is that every lead that comes in is coming from a different source. And so you don't want to talk to the people coming in your open house the same as you're going to be talking to leads you're buying from Zillow. So you've already met the people that walked in that open house. So you're going to have a little different message and sound a little different as you're emailing and texting them for Zillow. But here you're able to, pre-think that out and say, okay, every lead that comes in off of this Facebook ad, I'm going to, do these things. I'm going to send this message and I'm going to send these emails, to them in this amount of time. So you kind of pre-think everything out and have it ready so that when these leads start coming in, you're not scrambling while you're driving a client around showing houses. You already know while I'm showing houses, every lead that comes in today something's going to happen to them that I've pre-thought out, and I'm going to keep my name and my face in front of them. And that's going to prompt them to want to have a conversation with me. And the conversations are what is going to turn that client from a lead into an actual client.
Yeah, I love that. And I think this is, what you said before too, is the automation. It's automated and you do it based on that source. So then it's just one-time setup. It's kind of that, I kind of like this term and I don't like it because I don't want people to think that you forget the people, but it's a set it and forget it. Like, don't forget the people, but you don't have to think about, oh, I have to go, a new lead came in and now I have to go do a million things. Well, they've been responded to. Yes, you still have to go back and probably make a phone call and read their replies and do everything else, but it's a system that will help you save that time. That is a commodity that we all get the same 24 hours in a day, right? Nobody gets any more, right? And so this is a way to kind of streamline your time and make sure that you get some of that time back instead of doing those tedious tasks of, hey, yes, I just got your request. Can you talk right now? That there's something already doing that for you, so you don't have to go in there and do that yourself manually. So
While
I'm all
we're
about
there,
automation.
While we're there on that tab, I saw we've had several questions already coming in about AI. And so this is one of the places that we've added a system, and this is called our AI bot. And what happens here is turn this on, and this is an extra charge. It's $1.50 per lead that you turn this on for. But this bot is a texting bot, and it knows all these different real estate conversations that have been put into it already. And so each time a lead comes in, if you turn this bot on, now it will kind of act like it's your assistant, and it'll introduce itself. Hey, my name is Erica, and I saw that you were interested in this house on Facebook. Can I get some more information? And before you know it, this bot will start having a text message conversation with that new lead and be gathering information for you. And then when it's time for the bot to say, hey, they're ready to go look at houses, or they're ready to list, it'll message you and say, you need to take this conversation over. But it works. And we've got testimonial after testimonial about this thing. So I wasn't a big believer when we first turned it on that this bot could do this, but man, over and over again, we see the success on it. And the thing is with this bot is that it doesn't have feelings. And so where you might try texting a new lead, 4 or 5 or even 8 times, and if they don't ever reply back, you might just give up. Well, this thing just keeps going, and it'll attempt to get a conversation started for up to a full year on every lead. And at some point it gets them at the right timing, and you'll see that they'll start full conversing with this bot. And before you know it, you've got a lead turning into a client.
Yeah. And so I'm just showing on my screen here what that conversation kind of looks like. So this is a conversation between a bot and one of my friends, Jeremiah. So this is what it would look like so that you can see their replies. You can see what the bot says. And then once the bot, detects that this person is ready to have a conversation with you, you'll get a notification saying, hey, you need to talk to this person. And then the bot will stop itself, and then you pick up the conversation. I did a webinar with one of my friends, Greg Hanner, and he uses this exclusively to convert a lot of his leads that he's buying from some of the portals and even through our digital ads. And he has been so successful. And I'm sure if he's watching, I don't know if he's on this, but I know he's in our Facebook group. You guys can reach out to him and he can, or watch our replay, and you can definitely see how his success and listen to his success story on this. It is something that's truly amazing. So,
and Greg, as well as a lot of our other members, what I love about some of our members is that they're finding success and they're willing to share exactly what they're doing. I mean, he laid it all out step by step, how he's doing it and how it's working on a webinar for you all. But that's another cool thing about our industry is how everyone is so willing to help their competitors. Get
I do love
success.
that. Yeah. So my fourth takeaway would be segmenting your audience. I can't have a podcast without using the word segment and segmenting your audience. I think this is something that I think is so important. I mean, we've been talking about how this is a relationship building business. If you can't find somebody quickly to know like what message they need to be hearing from you and what you need to be saying to them, your life is going to be harder. Your work is going to be harder. So don't make it hard on yourself. Go through and segment your audience, crack open your favorite beverage and start clicking on people's names. Obviously, you'd have to know who these people are and then say, yeah, I want to add these people to, my gardening group. And now you can add them to your gardening group like this. John is not in that group. He does not know how to garden, whatever it is, or that's not how I know him, right? And then go ahead and segment those audiences based not just on if they're interested in buying or selling. Like, yes, that's one of those things, but also, what are their interests? Are they an athlete, and what kind of athlete? Or is it sports? Is it whatever it is? Is it, some kind of interest or hobby? And then you can relate to them on that topic and not always calling somebody and saying, hey, Brandon, do you want to buy a house? Where if I'm going to call Brandon and say, hey, Brandon, the fights are on this weekend. I know he's a big UFC, fighter person. I don't know, whatever those are called.
Fan, not a fighter.
and say, hey, I'm hosting this UFC. If I know that I have, 30 people that love UFC fights, then I'm going to host a fight night and, have a party and have all of my database, have a group of people over so then I can network with them. They can network with each other. They're all like-minded. And that's what, again, building that relationship with people.
Yeah, and I saw that Carrie says yes, add tags for everything. So just so you know, Eleni's calling it segments. Carrie on the chat called it tags. In Wise Agent, we actually call it categories and source. So just know that no matter what you call it, tag, segmenting, category, what you're doing is whenever you hear, hey, this guy likes hiking, biking, or as Carrie says, wine lover, put them in those categories, because then you'll end up with 50 people that like hiking. And when you see an article come out or a blog come out, it just makes it so easy to say, hey, I just saw this new article on hiking Camelback Mountain and it made me think of you, and send it. It'll have your branding on it, but it's another way to keep your name and your face in front of your past clients or anyone really long term, because there's always new information coming up on golfing or wine lover. And that if you have them segmented or categorized properly, it just takes 5 minutes for you to share a nice blog that came out. And that's just a great way to get your name and your face in front of your clients without always having to talk about real estate.
Yeah. And without having to do a lot of the work. We have that RSS feed tool that will write all of that stuff for you. You subscribe to it, you click a button, it sends it out. You don't have to know about mountain biking or hiking or any of those things, or UFC. It will create the article, it will link that article. You send it out to the people that enjoy that topic and just say, hey, I thought of you. I read this article and thought of you, or I came across this article and I instantly thought of you. I get those types of texts and emails from my friends. And so when you're thinking about how do you talk to your friends, well, you can talk to your clients that same way. And then that's, again, another way of that relationship building. So, okay, we're on number 4, Brandon. What's your number 4? Where's the
My number 4 is a transaction checklist. So
Okay.
now we've been using our database, we're setting appointments and you know, sending out our texts and our emails, and what's going to happen when you're using that lead automation, it's going to lead to a transaction, you know, and that's kind of the goal of this. And so whether it's a listing or you're representing a buyer, it's you have, now that we're in it and we've got this listing, there's so many other pieces to this business that we have to make sure we're running in a system so we don't drop a ball. And so I think the transaction checklists are just critical that everyone should be using. And that's one of the things we've get the most compliments on, and then we do see the high number of a lot of use on. So
yeah, well, that was one of the first features and functionalities of Wise Agent for your
yes.
business when you were in real estate and selling. And so this is something that I think it goes back to that roots of real estate that, you know, obviously the relationship building part is really important, but the roots of it is getting to that transaction. If you miss something, if you forget a disclosure, you forget a signature, you might not get to that closing table. You might not be getting that commission check, right? So there's things that are really important that need to be done, and having those reminders. What I love about our checklist and the checklist templates is when you assign something to somebody from your team, they get that notification saying, hey, in 5 days, you need to finish, you know, you need to set the lockbox up or whatever for this property. I love that part because sometimes I'm really bad at delegating things and I need help with that. And that's what this does, because, you know, we use Wise Agent internally here. And that's one of my favorite pieces. So when you go into, and I'm going to share my screen here, when you go into one of your checklists and you have that template set up to be assigned to somebody, so this conditional loan approval, you know, is assigned to Phoebe. Well, when it's right, you know, right before it's due, she's going to get, or right when it's assigned to her, when I put in all the important dates, Phoebe's going to get an email saying on May 2nd, you're going to have to do, you know, get this document, you're going to have to do this. Monica will get all of that. I love that because, again, there's that automation helping me delegate some of these tasks out without me having to do any of the email sending and delegation part of it myself. So that's what I love.
And we hear all the time how important it is just having every piece of the transaction on one page, from your critical dates, everything you did, when you did it, all of your documents stored in one spot, everyone that helped worked with you, who was the title company or the appraisal or the inspector, you know, 10 years from now, you know exactly who that is with one click, and then all the extra notes. And where this was originally, the thought was, hey, when you have a buyer, this is what we'll fill out. When you have a listing, here's how it'll work. Then now we have a lot of brokers using it. When I have a new agent, you know, we've got new agents coming into the office all the time because we're using Wise Agent on the recruiting side. And so they have their transaction checklist set up to walk them through. When a new agent comes in, here's all the things all the paperwork I need to get done. Here's all the things I want to do to get them from where they are to being a success. And that's definitely another thing that we're hearing a lot right now, you guys. If you're a broker out there, the brokers that are growing right now, they are taking an active role in coaching their agents to success. And it seems like that's what the industry is craving is, hey, I want to go to an office that's not just a nice office and give me a place to work, but I want to go somewhere where my broker is using a system if you're a broker, you've already had some success. And so these agents, they want to be sitting in a room where the broker's coming out and holding them accountable or giving them a little coaching. So you got to put your coach hat on. And that's what we're seeing a lot, kind of as a side point on that, is the brokers that are helping their agents create success by using a system and holding them accountable. Did you log in your CRM every day? We're able to look in and see, did you log in? I think it's all really helping. And so those transaction checklists are not just for transactions. You can use them for a lot of other things.
Absolutely. I mean, you can even use them for events. I was talking to one of our brokers, Roger, and he was telling me how he's trying to get people to come back into the office more and more. And he's like, I need some help. What do you think I should be doing? And I said, well, do you feel like they're asking for, for more time with you? And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy all day long fielding calls from my agents. They just want to ask questions of me. And I said, well, then why don't you have that office meeting to be a Q&A with the broker? They want time with you. So invite them there and have them fill out a form, create a landing page, have that engagement, and then put that on a checklist of, you know what, I'm going to be doing this every month for my team, what I'll be doing. So then you know what you have to do each and every time to engage with your agents. As a broker, you should have that relationship with them as well, not just with, your buyers and sellers, but your agents are also part of who you're building a relationship with. So, okay, I've lost track. Are we on 4, 5?
You're on number, you're number 5.
I'm doing 5 now. Okay. So then it kind of goes back to what I was saying about, sending information. My number one thing is that you should be doing when you're sending out anything, it has to have value. When you're sending out an email, if you're sending out a text, if you're making a phone call, sending out a postcard, make sure that you're sending something of value to your database. And you should be doing that every single day. And it doesn't have to be to your whole entire database. You have an extremely large database, but then it goes back to segmenting that audience, right? If you haven't segmented it, you don't know what they need of value. So sending them something, of, hey, let's have an office meeting and have a Q&A with the broker, or this is what's happening in this community. There's new restaurants being opened. There's new parks. There's this, what's happening with the schools. Being able to send out something that has value is way more important than just sending something of, I listed this property, and then just kind of nothing else attached to it. Did you list that property and this is something that they would like to see? Or are you listing a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom to a family of 7? That's not going to really work for them. So making sure that you're segmenting your audience so then you can send the right information with value to them. That's a big takeaway, I think, that a lot of people need to step up and start doing.
Yeah. So sending value, and we have a lot of tools to help you send more, better written and more valuable emails. And I did see, as these questions are coming in, we got a lot of ChatGPT and AI. So it kind of leads to part of what my number 5 is, and I think you can show it, but I put marketing tools. So I think we've just got so many great marketing tools that you all should be using. And like you said, you don't have to use them all the time, but there's a lot of different tools that you should be using. We've already talked about the drip campaigns and the automation they have, but here, when you're talking, we're getting a lot of questions about ChatGPT and AI and how they would use it. So right here, where she's at now, we are on the content page. So we've got a page where if you're working with a coach, they can give you, all the emails and letters that they've written that you can start using that will be successful. Same thing with their brokers. If they already have, hey, when I send these emails out, I get business. Now they can just put those in your Wise Agent account so they're there for you. So we already have Wise Agent account content that we've come up with and written with the idea that you can use our letters and just edit them a little bit. And we also have content in here that maybe your brokers or your coaches, whoever that is, you can link your accounts with theirs. And if they've written content, they can give it to you. But now we've added in the AI writing assistant. And so if you're trying to use ChatGPT on the outside and it says it's full or it's going to cost now, you've got access to it right inside of your Wise Agent account. You click on the blue button that says AI writing assistant. And like she just showed here, she said, write an email about why someone should move from Chicago, Illinois to Fountain Hills, Arizona. Fountain Hills is where Wise Agent's based out of. It's right by Scottsdale.
Yeah. And Chicago's where I'm from, so.
Yeah, and so then this thing actually will do all the thinking for you. And it came up with a really nice email here that kind of just goes into something that you could send to people. And now we've made it where you just click the button and it'll pull it all into your editor. So now you can change this up and make sure that it's worded exactly how you want to send it. And then from here, you can save this, and it's in your content that you can use the rest of your career. Anytime you need to use this letter, it'll be there for you. So you can name it and save it, or just take it and now go send the emails out to your database from here, or the text, depending on what you use to write or what your intent was there.
Yeah.
So that's
I
one
love
of
this
our.
because, yeah, and I love this because this is, again, more content to be able to come up with some of this content. Now, I always suggest to people, don't take all of this and say, okay, I'm just going to send this and not read it. You want to make sure that you're reading this. You want to make sure that it sounds like your tone. So I know Brandon's big on setting the tone too when he's using the AI writing assistant, so you can set it from the Shakespearean tone to professional to more casual, whatever you want to, whatever tone you want to set. But it's really important that you also go in here and kind of just make sure that everything in here is accurate and to your liking. And so Kathleen, if you're saying that you're not finding it it's not on the create an email page. This is actually, you can find this from under the marketing dropdown and under the content library is where you will find this. And what happens is, and the reason why we put it in here is so then you can go in here and save this. So now once I save this, because again, I'm all about like those shortcuts. I really like taking shortcuts in life. So if I can, and so if I want to send something like that to, let's say, Michael Phelps here, I can just go ahead and send this email, and it doesn't have to be on a one-off email. It can be on the mass emails as well. Now I can just go to my messages and say, where's my content. And I'm going to say, this is, an email from Chicago to Arizona. It puts in the subject line, it puts everything in here for me. And now I can go ahead and just schedule this to go out. I can send this to go out, and you can use it for anything, like send a birthday message or a Mother's Day message, Father's Day, whatever it is. You can have it write out this content, save it in your content library, and then reuse it. And this is something, again, that saving of time and money that's so valuable, where you're able to then use this in conjunction with our checklist. I'm going to tie this back, Brandon, for 1 second. So when you're doing your checklists and you're saying that something needs to happen, well, you can come in here and say, oh, I need to send my for this checklist, I need to send this to Michael Phelps saying, here's this, the lockbox is being sent. You got to love live demos. Our internet is really slow here. Hold on. There it is. And so now I can come in here and say, I need to send some content to him, something about this transaction. And I'm going through, and I've got 5 transactions that I'm dealing with. I've already done the work. I've already created this content. So now I can just say, oh, well, here it is on, your 1-year anniversary, and I'm going to just send this out. So then I can just easily send this out right after he closes. I can send the closing thank you note. I can do all sorts of things in here where everything is already written for me. So I don't have to think about it. So that's what I love.
Doing the work once and using it over and over again.
Yeah.
You have that situation keep coming up. Other marketing tools that people love in here is simple thing like our flyers. It's just for every time you have a new listing or you're going to do an open house, you need to have some printed flyers. And so we just make it very easy, step by step. And these templates are the choices right now, but the way these got here is we've had our members send in and say, man, I sure would like to have a flyer in this style. And so if you have something that's not here that hey, this is a style I want, send it in and we'll be able to add that as a new template for you. So again, use our support. We're here for you and we want to be part of your team. So yeah, the flyer is very easy to use. And then postcards right now, postcards are really something where when everything has gone to automation, the postcards are working again. So we've got an easy way for you to, start sending regular postcards. That could be your just listed, just sold cards, or it could just be, farming type cards that you do on a consistent basis. Consistency always works the best. Things like that. And then another big one that I think you should show real quick under marketing is the landing pages, because people a lot of people don't realize that we have these, and when they find them, man, they just use them all the time for everything. And so we have so many different styles of landing pages for brokers to use to recruit with. If you're holding any kind of a meeting and you want people to sign in on anything, for sending out for on your Facebook ads, or like we said, even holding an open house. A lot of you, when you're holding an open house, and when people walk in, you're saying, hey, can you sign in here? And then you get home that night when you're tired and you're trying to read everyone's handwriting and manually type it into your CRM. Just use a open house landing page and have that open on your iPad or your laptop. And when they walk in, say, hey, the seller's requesting, before you walk through their house, if you would sign in. And now when they start filling this in, you can get a lot more information from them, because you can just have those bubbles. They can just say yes or no, or fill in, however. So you're going to walk away with a lot of information. But as soon as they put that information in there and hit submit, that's now already into your Wise Agent CRM immediately, and it can kick off the marketing. So when they're walking out of the open house, they pull up their phone and they've already got a thank you from you saying, thanks for stopping by the open house. Here's my information. So really taking advantage of those landing pages. And again, if there's a landing page that you need that we don't have, let us know and we'll help you create that thing.
And there's my friend Greg chiming in on QR codes, because he knows that I love QR codes, and I'm nudging my team, my dev team on integrating that within our landing pages, because that is something, instead of having your tablet and your iPad, you just make a little pretty picture frame, have a QR code in there. And then what I love doing is using the lead rules to create the text rule to say, anytime somebody comes into this open house, I'm going to text them, just something about like, don't forget to go around back to see the beautiful gazebo. And then I'll attach the flyer. You could attach the flyer to this, or you could attach a 40-second video. So then when they go home and they've gone to maybe several open houses, they're going to look at their phone and they're going to see your text message, your video, your flyer, whatever you've included. And that's going to be something that's going to make you stand out in front of the rest of the crowd. So, and they'll remember that property. So that's something that I think is really important to be doing as well.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 5, Brandon?
That was marketing was my number 5.
Marketing was your number 5. Okay, so then so you already kind of told my bonus one was the daily agenda. So I think that this is a really important one, where every single morning you will get this email saying, these are the things on your calendar. This is the number of calls that you have. This is your most recent contacts. And then this is that important button, Open Wise Agent. Right. So when you're reading your email, you click on this button, open up your account and start working. I mean, it really isn't. It tells you what you need to work on. So I have a past due item that I need to get done. I need to make some calls today. I missed some of my calls from the other day. This is a really important thing that you should be looking at every single day.
I agree.
Okay. What else do you have? I know you have a bonus one.
Yes. So my bonus is actually about the email as well. And I saw someone had even asked a question. One of my favorite tools is I'm working in out of my email, my Gmail all day long. And anytime I've got new what would be a lead coming in, maybe it's a broker, maybe someone else in the industry that's sent me an email to start that relationship. A lot of times when I see that email, I know, hey, this is someone valuable in one way or another, someone that should be in my CRM, but I don't have time to sit here and go enter all that stuff into my CRM right now. And so what I've done is we turn on our Gmail extension. So that's my bonus, is one of my favorite tools is our Gmail Chrome extension. You just turn it on in the integrations menu here, just like she's showing you now. And then what happens is anytime you get an email, on the top of it, it says add to Wise Agent. So if I want to add this person to my Wise Agent account, or if it's a group email, it'll have a bunch of names. I can click on any name, and it just makes it so easy on the right side of that email screen that she was on. you can see it just opens up a whole tab where it'll pull her email in, and then I can just go fill in any other blanks that I have right off of her email branding. Usually I can put the title and the company, put them in a category. So I'm already segmenting them. And then I hit save, and that person is in my Wise Agent, and I never had to leave my Gmail account.
Yeah. But then what it does is based on that email address, and I think this was one of your things that you had earlier, and I don't know which number it was, but the enhancement portion of it. So we'll take this email address, we'll scrape social media, and then we will find out whatever we can. So on this email, it only, the extension only pulled in her first name, but when we enhanced it based on this email address, it filled in Camilla's last name and the company that she works for and her title. It also will fill in her LinkedIn bio and everything else in here where you would be able to see this. This is I love this tool because as realtors, you guys are meeting people throughout the day and you don't know them from Adam. And so this is really nice where you can get an understanding like, oh, okay, so she lives in Arizona. Why is she looking at a house here in New York City? Oh, she's moving, she's doing this, or she just moved here from another city or state. You can get a feel for what's happening with this person. In LinkedIn, they're going to talk about their promotions and their job changes and whatnot. You can see all of those things, and that's a really powerful tool to be able to see. And then in addition to that, if you've on the integration settings, if you're using Chrome, like I had said earlier in this, you can also set up the Gmail conversations. So not only am I going to be able to see all that enhancement, but now I can see every single email that she sent to me. And on top of that, I can save it. So this gets saved as a note in her contact summary page. So even if I delete it from my Gmail account, it will always stay here. It will always be here. And if it's something that is related to a transaction, I can add it to that transaction as well, which I love. So even if there was an attachment and I want to save it to that transaction, so maybe a document that I had her sign. So that's, for me, another bonus. Like, it's the bonus on top of your bonus, Brandon.
Yeah. No, and someone was asking about the newsletters, and so I guess that's going back to the marketing tools. That's one of the things that has been a staple for 20 years in Wise Agent. We've offered a newsletter that we write for our members every month. And then the idea is we write it in English and in Spanish and a Canadian version as well. And then you can take that and send it out as is, or you can edit it all you want, make any changes. You can add your listings to the bottom of it with links, going back to your website, anything you want. But newsletters, they work if you send them out consistently, and we have a lot of testimonials on those. So that is another great marketing piece. And I also saw there was someone that saying, hey, can you who was that? Let me see. Oops, I lost it. But someone's asking about our global market, what we're doing outside of America. And so that would be one of the things, is that we do translate a lot of our marketing into Spanish already. And then we also have the Canadian newsletter. Anything else on the global aspect, Eleni?
Well, so you can change your fonts. So like, obviously I speak Greek, I'll also write it. You can change your fonts on your computer and it'll use those fonts. So I can write in Greek and save content in the Greek language with those fonts. And I know Camilla, she speaks Swahili. And so that can be, those fonts can be saved on your computer, and you can save that content as well. So that's really a great tool. I know
our international members a lot of them love that we have support in Spanish. So if that's the language you prefer, we can walk you through the whole system and do your onboarding all in Spanish. Also, the international members love that we offer support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's huge for them when they're working, and most Americans are asleep. They're still able to get help when they call us or hit our contact us button. There's a live person that can kind of walk them through, or even onboard you on weekends, if needed, or after hours. So you guys let us know what you need on that level, and we're there for you as well for the international members. That was Slavisa.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that we kind of ended on newsletters, because next week, Sarah, who usually is behind the cameras and she's one of our moderators, I didn't even introduce her this time. She and I are going to be talking next week on strengthening relationships with real estate newsletters. And that's something that I think even for agents and brokers, and talking about how a broker can create some of that content, or have, some brokerages have marketing personnel that they hire or outsource, where you can have some of the content written and then shared out to your agents. So we're going to be talking about that not all next week, but next week, Sarah and I. So I think this, I know we went through 12 things really, really fast. But what I think the biggest takeaway too is that 24/7 support. So I'm going to do like a triple bonus, I guess. I don't even know where we're at with bonuses, but I think that's a really big takeaway, is leverage the support. It does not cost you guys anything. It's some time, send an email, take a minute and make that phone call and say, hey, can we schedule a session to go over some of this training that I need? Be specific as well. I think and I know our support staff will always appreciate how specific you can be, and say, hey, this is kind of the workflow that I want to have. What do I have to do to set it up? How do I set this up where, every one of my checklists, when I have a task, then the next thing I want to do is send out an email. They're going to show you how to set that up. So really leverage that, because this is something. Yes. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, support's huge. That kind of goes back to the very first question: what makes Wise Agent unique? We have brokers, you should be doing this too. Every time they recruit a new agent starting, the broker is sending us an email with their contact information saying, hey, this person is starting on Tuesday. The first thing I want them to do is get set up. When can I set up a training? Let's do it for Tuesday at 10 a.m. So we've already got their onboarding session where the broker doesn't have to do it. They're just scheduling to make sure their new agent is on. So when they come into the office, we've already got their Wise Agent account set up. And then at 10 a.m., they log on and we're doing a one-on-one onboarding. Our team is doing one-on-one with their new agent. And so we've become a member of that broker's team, and we're doing all the training on the CRM side of it for him. And that goes on and on. It's not just an onboarding, it's week after week, the onboarding, and then we start training them every week, all as far as they need it, and that never ends. So take advantage of that support, because nobody else out there is offering the kind of support that we are for a technology company.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a huge difference.
It is. I mean, because not every technology company offers support, and so we'll walk you through it. We will help you through anything that you need help with within Wise Agent, and even our partners. So yeah, I love that. And I love that we do that. And our team loves helping you guys. So it gives us joy seeing how our team, when they get to meet you guys and they know everybody by, oh, so-and-so's calling, they get all excited. So they really are here to help. And we really appreciate that.
We take our customer support, the people that are answering the phones for you, to the events with us as well. And so you'll get a chance when you're at any of the real estate events around the country to stop by and meet some of our team members. And we love seeing all the hugs go around.
Absolutely. Our travel season has ended for the summer break, but then it's starting up in August, where I believe Esme and Ashley will be in Orlando for Florida Association of Realtors, and so that'll be exciting to see. So if you guys are in Florida and you're going to Florida Association of Realtors, stop by our booth and meet them and talk to them, because they love seeing who they talk to. So pick up some swag
Texas and Ohio,
and Texas,
Miami,
Ohio. We'll be
So yeah, we're going to be all over the country this year, and we love to see our members. So make sure you stop by and say hi when you see us.
Absolutely. So Brandon, thanks so much for taking this time and coming up with your own list. It was funny that we were like, oh, we were only going to do 5, and then we gave you guys like 13 or 15. I don't know. We've lost count. But I hope you guys took some of these takeaways and now you implement them into your business. And then let us know. Keep in touch with us. You can post in our community group. You can email us at help@wiseagent and let us know. And yeah, don't forget Serbia and Europe. So I'll be in Greece for a couple of weeks this summer. So maybe we'll meet halfway. Come down to Greece, and then I'd love to meet you. But yeah, so definitely keep us informed in what's working for you. post that in the group, because other people that are outside of your market, you can help them, connect with them as well. And that's how everyone's business grows, with help from one another. So, all right. Well, I will be back on next week, the 25th at 10 a.m. with Sarah Webb, our marketing manager, and we're going to be talking about newsletters. Thanks so much, Brandon. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I always
All
like
right.
to be on.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.